Well, part one of the history bounding Costubers questions, I was working on a fox brooch pin. And this is part two where I walk you through that process. So come and join me in this process, have a cup of tea, and let's sit back and relax. The original piece that I was working on during those questions was a horizontal laid fox, and I'm going to show that image here so that you can see. But then I changed my mind because the brooch wouldn't fit, or the image wouldn't fit in the brooch that I had on hand, and I didn't want to go spend any money to buy another one. I spent a little bit of time with my colored pencils and my graph paper, and I created a new upright fox, and I thought adding a little heart would add just a little bit of love to the project. This little video montage is showing you the process, how I have laid out the cross-stitch fabric to count out the squares to figure out how much fabric I need for one fox. I did learn that in this process I have enough fabric to do 4 foxes on one piece of the square that you'll see I cut out. This is the brooch base that I used. I had a couple of these already at my stash, so I didn't have to go buy any new ones. But they are where they have the loop at the top, and I could not use the original pattern sideways. It didn't fit. The cross-stitch fabric I'm using is a 28-inch weave. It's actually a really fine weave. I mean, those little squares are really, really tiny. I do have to use a very good light when I'm working on this to see. I'm nearsighted, so I don't have to use bifocals, but I do need a good light to be able to see what I'm doing. For this project, I am using scrap silk thread that I had in my stash. I am using very fine point quilters basting needles for my embroidery needle. They have a really long sharp point and a long eye to fit all the threads in. You can see my little sewing kit, and I am also using a tension hoop. I wish I could find more of these things. I love them. Here's a little clip I have of me actually doing the cross stitch. The little green clip is actually a clip-on reading light. I can clip it onto either my embroidery frame. Well, I can clip it onto any embroidery frame no matter where I'm working. It's absolutely magnificent. I used to do a great deal of cross-stitch embroidery. I think that's pretty much what I started with. I got really bored with it over time because counted work for me is repetitive. It's a lot of stick and pull, and with freeform embroidery or crewel embroidery or some of the other types of embroidery, I feel like there's a little bit more fluidity with the type of stitches and more creativity. Everybody has their preference, but this is literally the first cross stitch I have done in at least 15-20 years. In this still image, you can see how I outlined the complete fox before I filled in the middle. That is not a typical cross stitch technique. Typically with cross stitch, you start in the middle and you count up and down and out to each side, working in different quadrants. By the time this video comes out, I will have done 6 different fox brooches in different colors. I've done a red one with a gold heart. I've done a golden fox with a red heart. I've done a gray fox, a silver fox. I really did enjoy the project, but I will say I think I'm done again with cross stitch for a while. And to close, I wanted to show you a picture of myself in one of my day-to-day work clothes. And I have started to wear my little fox as a pin for my cravat. Have fun history bounding, my friends. Have fun.